National Defense of the nominations and ad interim of appointments of 52 senior officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Any objection? Hearing none, the consideration of the recommendation of the Committee on National Defense is in order. To the leader.
Mr. Chair, I move that the chairperson of the Committee on National Defense, Representative Luis John A. Ferrer IV, be recognized.
Representative John Ferrer IV is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Chairman, esteemed colleagues, as chairman of your Committee on National Defense, it is my distinct honor and privilege to sponsor today the confirmation of the ad interim appointments and consent to the nominations of 52 officers of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. This morning, your committee conducted a public hearing to deliberate on these ad interim appointments and nominations. After a thorough deliberation and scrutiny, your committee found them not wanting fitness, competence, and integrity, and found their qualifications to be sufficient. It has been determined by your committee that the said 52 senior officers are all fit and qualified to be promoted to the ranks where they are appointed, and therefore ruled to recommend to the plenary the confirmation of the ad interim appointments, and the commission gives its consent to the nominations of the following 52 officers in the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
All right. Before you proceed for the first motion, the chair just noticed something. The three virtual members of the CA who are present are all from Cavite.
Yes, boss.
What does that mean? Anyway, go ahead, Representative Ferrer.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chair. First on the list is Ramil Roberto B. Enriquez to the rank of Vice Admiral.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Bartolome Vicente O. Bacaro, the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Approved.
Eugenio V. Hernandez to the rank of Major General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Wilbur C. Mamawa to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jose H. Narciso to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jerry E. Polohanan to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Lito D. Villanueva to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jose Maria R. Cuerpo II to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Romulo A. Manuel Jr. to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Joannis Leonardi B. Di Maano to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Rogelio D. Ulanday to the rank of Brigadier General.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Arman G. Mampusti to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Victorino C. Patricio to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Kim Eric Alexander D. Agatep to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Ferdinand P. Romano to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Nestor A. Etis to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Emilito T. Lucero to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Augusto N. Padua, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Colonel Padua was the roommate and upperclassman of my nephew-in-law, Captain Raymond de Guzman, who died in a plane crash while on duty. And Colonel Padua was one who helped in finding the body of Raymond. That was in 2002. Any objection will not be entertained. Approved.
Thank you, Colonel. Gilbert T. Esteban Jr. to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jose Tadeo M. Javier II, the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Oliver A. Banyaria, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Marvel C. Sabellion, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Ronaldo L. Zaragoza, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Carlito P. Lingad Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Air Force.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Harold M. Argamosa, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Luciano M. Cayman Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Arthur M. Romanillos Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Gaspar B. Panopio, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Arnel B. Bautista, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Randy N. Espino, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jonathan P. Obena, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Richard B. Rabaca, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Jacob Tadeus M. Obligado, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Glenjoy U. Ainera, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Eufrasio G. Malig Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Erickson V. Rosana, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Isaklolo H. Deroy Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Vince James D. Bantilan, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Tommy A. Deliva, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Wendell J. Basat, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Carlo Franco A. Pimentel, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Norberto L. Agbay, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Eduardo M. Monhardin, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Roy Anthony O. Terillo, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Estevain E. Dupusin, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Nonilon P. Lawas, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Fernando B. Dulawan, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Ramilo B. Trinidad, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Noel E. Buncab, to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Navy Marines.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Gregory Gerald V. Fabic, to the rank of Captain, Philippine Navy.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Bienvenido F. Simon Jr., to the rank of Colonel, Corps of Professors.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And Hilarion G. Palma to the rank of Colonel, Philippine Army.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Approved.
That is all, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Ferrer. Majority Leader?
There being no other matters to discuss, I move to adjourn.
Any objection? Hearing none. The session is hereby adjourned.